So I got this keychain that my wife got me. So the shiny Luvdisc, very cute. She got her a regular Luvdisc and me a shiny one, so we would have like matching keychains. It's a really sweet gift, one of my favorites that she's ever gotten me. And it's a little dirty at the moment, unfortunately. But there's something about that, like a well-loved gift that kind of shows its age, and the fact that it's something you've actually used and kept with you. I think there's something special about that. Anyway, hiya there, YouTube. Welcome to PU Dreams, the show where I talk about some of the most underserved Pokemon by Game Freak over the years, and how they could, should, or maybe even would be buffed. On this, our inaugural episode, we're going to be talking about Luvdisc. Now, a quick little preamble about the show structures, since this is our first episode. The kind of idea here is to have like a slow, conversational type of video where I just kind of talk about some ideas I have for buffing certain Pokemon, kind of leave it open for you guys to add in your own stuff in the comments if you also have thoughts about it. But yeah, sometimes it'll be like a top 5, sometimes it'll just kind of be like a short ramble. But any thoughts about the show structure, feel free to leave it down in the doobly-doo if you're so inclined. But yeah, so let's go on ahead and get right into it. So, Luvdisc is one of the single weakest Pokemon that Game Freak has ever designed. With the exception of its speed, just all of its stats are garbage. However, it's not all doom and gloom. There is one single niche for Luvdisc, and that is as a doubles rain support Pokemon. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, that sounds kind of bad, because you're a support Pokemon that also needs range support in order to do your job of supporting. Which obviously is not very good. Outside of its boring fish type move pool, it does have a couple of fun things like soak and entrainment. Actually, if Luvdisc was around right now, then you could use it in a restricted format to entrainment Kyogre, so it could get Swift Swim in its own setup rain, and then it could fire off Specs Water Spouts. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. It's stupid, but it's so good. Anyway, off topic. So, yeah, so, Luvdisc, not that great. Now, we could talk about a lot of different ways to buff a Pokemon like Luvdisc. Obviously, it needs a massive stat overhaul, a Mega Evolution, a regular evolution, signature item. But, today, I have a very holistic idea for what buffs I want to give to Luvdisc. And also, those Luvdisc buffs sort of keep the spirit of the original idea of Luvdisc of this very weak, delicate Pokemon. And I think they'll be interesting. Not necessarily good, but at the very least, interesting. So, I have 3 simple ideas for buffs. The first is Divot Flip Turn. 60 base power water mimic of U-turn, introducing the Isle of Armor DLC in Sword and Shield. Divot the ability No Guard, which previously the signature ability of Machamp, and means that any Pokemon with No Guard cannot miss any of its own moves, and no moves aimed at it can miss. And last but not least, Divot access to a lovely Kiss, which 70 accuracy normal type single target sleep move that is currently the signature move of Jinx. Now, when I'm talking about buffing a Pokemon, one thing that I like to stick to is thematic consistency. So, we're not going to give Luvdisc Overheat or anything like that. But you may have a couple of questions in regards to theming for these things, so I want to go over that real quick. Flip turn is pretty obvious, fish type move, fish type Pokemon, fish type flip on, fish on, all that jazz. No Dard seems a little bit off, but for me, I think that, so the traditional idea of No Dard, what I think they're going for is that, the Pokemon is so, all-out offensive, it gives, no regard for its own safety, so, even the wildest attacks will hit, and it'll get hit by everything in return, That's kind of like what Machamp goes for. But Luvdisc, as, this very, loving, kind Pokemon that never has its guard up, and so as a result is, always, able to get past the opponent's guard, while also, never able to avoid the opponent's attacks because it isn't on guard itself. I think No Dard fits aesthetically with, the idea of Luvdisc. I guess we could say, give it, an exact copy of No Dard if, you really don't think the aesthetic matches, but, for me, I think it's fine. And then Lovely Kiss, obviously fits in with Luvdisc's aesthetic. It's a kiss move. Luvdisc is a heart. But the real question for that is whether Game Freak would ever let Lovely Kiss not be the signature move of Jinx, which there's technically precedent for it, because back in Gen 2, they had, that really niche event, way back when, they gave it to a lot of Pokemon. But since then, they've kept Lovely Kiss very close to Jinx's chest, and as a result, I'm not really sure that they would ever give it to Luvdisc, but also the theming matches so well that, I think it's at least possible, if not likely. So, it's likely enough for me to mention it here, at least. And so, now that I've gone over the buffs I want Luvdisc to have, let's talk about what the competitive results of those buffs would actually be. The main thing that this would do is it would turn Luvdisc into this sort of anti-hazard lead. The idea is that you have a reliable way to put the opponent to sleep off of a pretty good speed stat. You're faster than Landorus, for example, a lot of different Stealth Rocks and Spikers. Even if you do underspeed one of the biggest hazard setters in Mew, there's still a lot that you outspeed, so you can put them to sleep. And then use Flip Turn to kind of flip on out of there after you put something to sleep. Bring in an offensive teammate or a setup teammate to keep things rolling. So you're not just stopping hazards, you're also getting momentum off of that. And there's also a phone bonus to No Dard on this set, because in addition to making Lovely Kiss accurate, it also gives Luvdisc a little bit of a power boost, because it can safely run Hydro Pump and Blizzard, as opposed to, Surf and Ice Beam. And, it's still going to be weak, mind you, but especially since, your main goal with this set is to have, a sleep lead, or sleep Pokemon that can also serve as, a temporary pivot with Flip Turn, I think that, every little bit extra power is going to be helpful, to let it get something extra in addition to that sleep and turn. Now, there are a couple item options here, actually, that are worth going over. So you got Scarf, which will let you let the range of things that you can put to sleep, widen a lot. You also have Lifeboard, because, kind of as mentioned before, all you're really doing is as a temporary pivot with sleep. And so every little bit of extra damage you get into that will help it do, anything extra, while the Lifeboard recoil won't make that much of a difference for survivability. But the main option, obviously, is going to be Focus Sash, so you can use it as a lead to reliably put something to sleep and then get on out of there. Yeah, so that's the anti-hazard lead. And then, some of you are going to hate me for this, but use it as a Whirlpool Trapper. Now, the idea here is that you trap something with Whirlpool, and then you sleep cycle it with a combination of Lovely Kiss and either Sub or Protect. and then you put in some extra damage with either with a Hydro Pump, probably, maybe Blizzard. And yeah, now you might think this sounds awful, but if you can outspeed the Pokemon, it doesn't have too much in the way of recovery. You know, like a Feeny or a Ferrothorn that's got its lefties knocked off, for instance. Or, you know, even like an offensive Pokemon that's just slower than it, so you can sleep cycle it while you trap it, like a Galarian Slowcane or Tyranitar, for instance. Like, there's like a non-zero amount of Pokemon that this Luvdisc could trap, and I think it would be hilarious. Like, just imagine for a moment, you like Toxapex with Salazzle, or like even a burn on it would make a difference, and then you trap it, and you sleep cycle it while you just kind of batter away at it with stuff. Like, it'd be dumb, but it would be possible. And then probably the best way that this would impact Luvdisc is as a doubles rain support Pokemon. Because with Luvdisc, or with Lovely Kiss, Luvdisc would become one of the fastest sleep Pokemon under rain, like even beating out Chlorophyll Venusaur with Sleep Powder. And with the aforementioned Soak and Entrainment, that would give you a lot of different things you can do, especially next to partners like Shedinja, for instance, because you can sleep the like few things that threaten Shedinja while you Soak it to make sure that it has less things that threaten it. Like, it's like, I think it would be a thing. Definitely annoying, but a thing. So anyway, what do y'all think? Do you like the buffs I've made? Do you think they're any good? Or are they busted? Obviously, I don't think they're busted, but it's worth noting that most of the movesets I've mentioned today are some of the least favorite things of competitive players, so it's very likely that you hate every single idea I've brought up, which, you know what? Fair enough. But so anyway, thank you all very much for coming out today. Leave your thoughts down in the doobly-doo. If you have any ideas that you would like to do for Luvdisc in terms of buffs, any movesets that I missed with the buff that I did give it, or just thoughts about the show's format, because after all, this is our first episode, so like, do you want to see more? Do you have any ideas? Do you like the conversational tone? You know, all of that good old jazz. But yeah, so thank you all for coming out today. Be sure to like, subscribe, you know, all that fun stuff. Check me out on Twitch for some Pokemon stuff. Twitch.tv/y_rock. And yeah, thank you all so very much, and bye, YouTube.